nearly 2,600 hours later, and Rainbow Six Siege still sits dominant at the top of my most played games list on Steam. Not even Final Fantasy XIV or Dota could knock this thing out of first place. Siege has stayed a constant in my life since my college days, and I've had some of my favorite memories created while playing it. Like, I wouldn't just sink 2,000 hours into something and then make amazing memories and then start hating it, right? You wouldn't stream a game that you hate playing just because you devoted your life to making content from it and didn't realize that what you say about a game actually impacts your audience, right? Okay, look, that was a lot up front. To keep it brief, I wanted to make this video as a test of my skills and to set up a more scripted yap session for myself so that I can kind of just get some of my thoughts out of my system and hopefully add some value to my content that isn't just oops, funny highlight videos. This video is kind of on a short deadline though, so if it sounds like I'm not going too deep into anything, that's why. So before moving forward, I want to establish a few things first. For one, I don't want to make this video to call people out or ruin anyone's grind set. If you've got a career to maintain and that's built on repetitive content or making the devs out to be the most incompetent in the biz or straight up taking advantage of the latest pixel peak, don't let me of all people be the one to stop you. But I do want to use this video to say that in my opinion that content kind of sucks. It's not the only content about Siege that sucks, but it's part of it. Like, I know my videos aren't very good, but I hope that I can live easy knowing I'm not desperate enough to do something like that. I'd prefer to make something that actually seems entertaining and not just slop. Though I do have to give a special shout out to the videos on Siege that actually get my gears a-turnin', such as G's Gaming Experience, who created a fantastic video about Siege that really resonates with me, and she generally has content that is actually worth watching. The video goes over the experience of taking a break from Siege, how changing content affects analytics, and the general issues with being an established creator of a thing while trying to pivot in content, and finally a nice lengthy section about the realities of gaming and the way discourse has gone. My favorite topics, unironically. Go check out the full video because it's a lovely little watch, and the rest of G's videos are pretty damn good as well. Big respect for continuing to make content around a community that is generally toxic about anything trans related. Yes, I'm looking at you, Siege community. Back in about 2022, I had hit a massive roadblock with how I interacted with the Siege community and Siege content in general. I felt very, I don't want to say enlightened or anything, that's a bit dramatic. Also probably wrong, I guess distanced. I felt distanced from the community and especially the content being created for Siege just because I didn't really jive with the general sentiment about the game at the time. I know it's a very vibes-based approach, but it's hard to describe it as anything other than that. There were a decent amount of popular content creators for Siege that were just being super negative, and leading up to 2024, I saw more of a cycle with the content than anything actually interesting. The content would become, as I said, cyclical. First it'd be a new year, or even a new season, launching and I'd see the titles of The Season of Siege, The Year of Siege, or even Siege is Getting Good, finally, plastered across my feed, where a week or two later, when the season launches, it immediately turns into I can't believe Ubisoft fucked up again and Siege is dying. Which, to make a point, that second thing is something that everyone just kind of says about games, and I just don't think I can get into it because that's a whole other video. My point is that this cycle is kind of depressing, and it was killing my interest in Siege at the time, but pushing myself away meant that I understood the game less, and even my perception of what the consensus was on the game changed entirely. No longer could I use a content creator to validate or invalidate my opinions on whether a season was good or not, because from my perspective, all the content creators hated every season anyways, so what was the point in watching them? All I could see were multiple videos about how Ubisoft ruined Siege's lore, how Ubisoft ruined the balance of the game and are incompetent, but they must be certainly doing it from a place of compassion because they still love the game and are keeping it alive. But also, did you hear how fucking stupid Ubisoft is? Again, my perception of Siege content is skewed because I've only ever experienced a wave of negative content before distancing myself from the community and the content. The opinion I had created after that point from then on was that most content about Siege was negative and going to be negative. And I wasn't really wrong. The content that I got leading up to 2024 sprinkled throughout my feed and my recommended were just videos trashing Siege and then trashing Ubisoft. This content alone wasn't the reason I distanced myself from the community, by the way, it just happened to be one of them, because the other reasons are entirely around the general toxicity, lack of interest, and overall negative experiences I've had with the community over the years. Team killing, trolls, absolute shitters, just the worst people imaginable, the slurs? Like, holy shit, the slurs. There are so many. I'm bringing up perception a lot here because it's a key component of how I, or even you, can view an experience and build opinions around something. With less negative content to sway me, I've had some more positive opinions about the seasons and content and changes to Siege, without having to worry about how suddenly Ubisoft is the devil for screwing up and killing my firstborn, or something. I'm not trying to downplay Ubisoft's fuck-ups here, either. I want to acknowledge that Ubisoft has indeed messed up plenty of times, and we should hold them accountable for that, dev and publisher alike. But I won't sit here and blame Ubisoft for the mental wear and tear of playing a game like Rainbow Six Siege, especially with the community it has. If the general consensus online for content creators is that it's hip to be negative and pays well to be on the bandwagon of the community's current outrage, then you'd think it would affect the quality of the content going forward. The negative videos get you views, bring in more subs, and then while you're busy just making a video you actually care about, you'll reap in the rewards of being the voice of the community, either casuals or otherwise. I'm being really negative myself because that's how it has worked within reason across the vast continent of content that is YouTube. In a world where negativity sells, you're bound to win by being on the wrong side with the right words. In other words, if you've got the words people want to hear, you're probably going to profit. My perception about that stuff though is from being a long time of political news and a lot of very specific video essayists. Not that they themselves were being super negative, but the stuff they were reviewing or talking about ended up being revealed as negative or bad for the platform, and it has definitely influenced my views a bit on how easily bad actors can ruin stuff. I'm more optimistic that by watching people who actually try to make a difference will in fact make a difference, but it's part of why I wanted to make this video as well. Content feels like it's getting sloppier. Content creators are constantly in some kind of drama, in some kind of sponsorship issue. Some channel is getting shut down. Some creator is actually just stealing from someone. My general thoughts about content creation have felt, I guess, depressing. I don't want to be a slop channel, but all of these other people are putting in minimal effort for the biggest game. I want to leave a lasting impact, but low quality trauma reading gets clicks. I don't even expect to be popular. In fact, I'm perfectly happy making mid-quality videos for my friends to enjoy. But reality is setting in after I tried taking Twitch seriously, and that's that I'm not really setting the right expectations or goals for myself. I'd rather be a more positive influence on people than sit here complaining that almost nothing is going right. I don't want to be on a list of channels to avoid by people for just being a bad vibe or complains too much, I guess. I don't want my content falling into this hole that I'm complaining about, basically. I'm gonna try and end this video by hopefully wrapping up all my points into one concise statement. A lot of the content I see, though not any I specifically watch, is a bit demoralizing as I see low effort, bad content skyrocket in views, while good works get left in the dust or take a while to gain traction. This isn't particularly towards my own content, because I know I need to work on it. Trust me, I'm trying. Just in general though, my relationship with content and as part of this siege has shifted towards wanting to see more passion out of the media I consume. I watch high effort, long form video essays because it actually makes me feel like I'll get something out of watching it. It makes me think, makes me question things, and I can say the same for the games I play. Do I play live service games and some games copying others? Absolutely, because those are still fun for me. But I also, predominantly, play games that actually feel like they have effort put into them. I play games that make me think, make me feel, make me question my relationship with the slop I used to dedicate my life to. I don't want to become a slop channel, and I want to be held accountable as such. Don't allow me to make garbage just to get popular or catch trends. Let me make content that I'm proud of, content I can enjoy watching back, and in return, I hope in this process I can make you think and find value in what I create at the same time. I apologize that this was kind of all over the place, but I hope you can get something out of this. I, again, was on a short deadline, twitch.tv/Duskaroo. I had a lot of fun making this. The script writing on a very strict time crunch was interesting, to say the least. I'm hoping to put a little bit more thought into the next video I script, but genuinely had a lot of fun just kind of putting my thoughts out there. So, thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed.